What up, what up, what up? This is RJ Fantasy Football Talk, and we back again. You know who it is. I'm Rodney. It's JJ. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, my man. Hey, we're a third of the way through the season. It was not a great week for me. I say that up front. Uh, we'll talk about all the impact players from last week, but I just say this: the injuries were not my friend. So I only won 2 games out of 7 leagues, and I'm gonna be struggling in this last quarter. But how about you?
I went 4-2.
Yeah,
I pulled out some Titans, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. It came down literally to Monday night, man.
right.
And I lost a tight one in a game I should have won because Dalvin Cook, I can regroup and get back in that one with pretty ease. So I ain't worried
Right.
about that too much.
Hey,
So
at least your game was tight. I didn't mind. I was getting blown out all over the place, and so Drew Brees and them cracked ribs. They
oh man, that
they hurt me in a
yo,
couple of leagues. I'm like, well, okay,
yeah, he killed. That's the one. That's the one league I
yeah.
had him in, and
Oh, that you.
I needed 6 points, and I
uh huh.
lost. I lost by 5 points,
Wow.
and he only put up 13. I just
Yeah.
needed 5 more. I needed
I
six
was
more
not
points from him.
close in the leagues where I had. Once he went down, I was like, wow, this is not going to go well for me. And then I had some other injury. It's that year.
Yeah,
We mentioned it I think last week. Injuries have been the story of 2016, even more so than COVID. So
yeah.
it's what it is.
So I'm really. I ain't. I'm in the hunt for a lot of playoff spots.
Shockingly, I am also,
So
but I'm like right there because we were
yeah,
talking before the show started about records, and I'm like 5-5 in like 5 of my 7 leagues. So in all of them, I'm right at the play. I'm either barely in or just on the outside.
yeah.
So hopefully over these next 2 weeks, I can get over that hump. So we'll see.
Now one league, the gridiron. I'm making my run.
Uh
I
huh.
was at the bottom for a while, but I'm making my run. If I can sneak in at 7-6, somebody's in trouble. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. So,
I feel you. I feel you.
but hey, you know how we do. We like to start off on a good note, and we're gonna start off with our impact players. So, we're gonna start off with the quarterbacks. So this is my list.
Okay.
Uh, I'm gonna start off with Alex Smith, who I think is gonna win comeback player of the year based off just coming back and playing.
Right.
Period. 38 of 55, 390. Didn't throw any touchdowns, but played pretty well. Ben Roethlisberger, 27-46, 333 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pittsburgh is looking very dangerous right now. They could be a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
Tom Brady,
Uh huh.
28-39, 341, 3 touchdowns. What can you say? I mean, it's Tom terrific.
And a rushing
Um,
touchdown, which was
and
like
a rushing
Tom
touchdown
Brady.
too.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Philip Rivers,
Uh huh.
29-39, 308, and 1 touchdown. Those are the guys I thought that did
Yeah.
work and took their team to victory this week. So I definitely big games from those guys though.
I don't remember you saying Ben Roethlisberger.
I did say
You
Ben
did really?
Roethlisberger.
Oh, I don't listen to
Yes,
you well enough. So,
yes,
all
but
right.
Ben is definitely a Ben.
Okay, I thought I had the one name you didn't say. So yeah, then the guys you said. Yeah, I had Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, Roethlisberger. Those were my big guys. But I want to throw in a bad quarterback, Russell Wilson, who started off the season like, hey, this guy's the MVP. And he has not been that the last like 3 weeks in a row. This past week, he didn't even throw a touchdown at all. But he had 2 interceptions, 248 yards, which I think is his second lowest, or is he the lowest or second lowest of the season? He's not looking good. Seattle is not looking good. I thought they were going to be the division winners for the NFC West. I'm kind of liking what Arizona's looking like right now.
Well, I got one question for you. Do you think is with Chris Carson out and they're one dimensional, and the
Hmm.
teams can focus on those two-man receivers, DK
Yeah,
and Lockett, and that'll kind of take them out of their ordinary what they normally do? I think they missing Chris Carson more than
I,
they
I,
did on
I
the field.
agree. I mean, the story was let Russ cook, and
Yeah,
it looked good. He was a great chef when Chris Carson was there, but
yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence. And it's crazy because most of the weeks the replacement players have been doing decent enough, but
Mm-hmm.
not they don't add enough to replace a Chris Carson because
No,
Chris Carson is one of those number one running backs that sneak under a lot of people's radar, and I think it's just definitely like you said, it's showing that now Russ has to cook too much. He needs that sous chef in there to help him out to make him better. So,
and I think also is the defense is leaky.
oh,
That
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 defense is
secondary
terrible.
is terrible. That
That
defense is terrible. And the thing is, you keeping him. He's not getting that rest
yeah,
on the bench because the defense got to play a little bit longer to kind of get him a rest.
right.
They getting scored on, he coming right back in. They getting scored on, he come, and
Hmm.
that's probably taking a toll on him right now. On top of the fact that he don't got his running back, which he won't be there this week either.
Yeah,
So he's probably out this week too. So and they play Arizona Thursday night.
Thursday night game. We don't talk about the Thursday night games a lot, but I think this was going to be kind of interesting with that quarter for fantasy players, definitely with the
Yeah,
quarterback players. Hey, see if Newt can catch one of those Hail Marys at the end of the game. That play
man.
was insane. A
And
great,
he said I knew I was gonna catch it. That's
it's
come
a
on.
great catch by I. I was like, really?
Yeah.
I love it though. I love it.
Hey, I'm with it.
Yeah,
So
Deshaun Watson was at home crying.
I would be at home crying
Yeah,
too. Matter of
yeah,
fact, he need to be mad at the organization for trading away his best players.
yeah,
I think it's crazy.
yeah.
But we're
Uh,
gonna go to the running
Running
backs.
backs
Uh, Ronald Jones is second,
again.
192, one touchdown. I just don't know what is going on.
They
Leonard
killing me.
Fournette,
They killing me.
Ronald Jones. Just come on.
hey,
One I don't know.
hey. If
It's
you've
like
been
flip a
watching
coin.
us since the beginning, you know I went big on Leonard Fournette before the trade went down, and so up until this point, every time they put Leonard Fournette in, he's kind of paid off when he wasn't hurt. This week, think he had like 10 touches this week,
Yeah,
and he was completely irrelevant. And that's
irrelevant.
added to that Drew Brees injury.
He must have.
That's why I only won 2 games because I had Leonard Fournette in my like 3 different roster lineups, and yeah, those did not pay off for me well. So
And we got the return of Nick Chubb's 126 and a touchdown.
and ruined some people's fantasy lives running out of bounds, saving the
Yes.
game for the Browns. But you know, somebody
Yeah,
needed that 6 points.
they need it.
Yeah.
Your boy, Josh Jacobs, 112, 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Definitely. And I dare ask you, does New England have a starting running back?
I want to go with that one because I think they have 2. Was that all your running backs?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
dare
but
to ask you. I want to.
I'm gonna say they I don't think they have one starting running back. They have 2. It looks like.
I mean,
Yeah. Damian looks nice.
he looks nice.
Hmm.
121. He had no touchdowns, but he definitely looks good.
Yeah.
And I want to give a special shout out to 2 other people.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, 104 yards
Hmm.
and 0 touchdowns. So between the two, between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they went over 200 yards between the two. And that goes back to that's how they win games
Hmm.
because you can't rely on your quarterback. And I want to shout out DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. It
And
was.
DeAndre Swift only had 81 yards, but the reason I'm saying this
Uh huh.
is they actually committed to giving him the ball,
And not just rushing, but he had
but
68
passing
passing
too
yards as well. Yeah.
with a touchdown,
With a
passing
touch.
touchdown.
Hmm.
So the thing is, and he started over Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson only had 4 carries,
Uh.
so they gave him 18 carries. Swift had 18 carries, so and they won the game. So, and I've
Right.
been saying this. I say if you put him in the game and you run him like you're supposed to, and you get him touches, he could win the
He
game
can
for you.
produce. Right.
And this is what he did. I don't see why they go back to Adrian Peterson. If they
I
do,
wouldn't.
they're crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So
Okay. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. You hit on a lot of the players I have for running backs, but what I was gonna point, and I'm glad you brought up the New England situation. I think we all always talk about running backs by committee, and they're no good for fantasy. This week is kind of an exception to that rule because you had Rex Burkhead and Damian Harris
Yes.
both with really good games, and they combined for Rex Burkhead had six carries and 4 receptions. Harris had, I think, a total of 22 touches, but they were both very fantasy relevant, especially Rex Burkhead with the 2 receiving touchdowns. Then you mentioned all the yards Damon Harris had, but they weren't the only combination like that. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt both put in work this week. Uh, Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick were both very fantasy relevant, and the guy that I loved the most was Josh Jacobs and Devontae Booker because
Yeah.
Devontae Booker put in 2 touchdowns, 81 yards, and still Josh Jacobs put in that 112 yards. Also putting up touchdowns. It's like the Raiders found a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs had 21 carries and Booker had 16. So there's ways you can make this running back by committee work. Not in Los Angeles with the Rams. they do it wrong.
From it. Yes,
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah,
And
for
the
fantasy
thing is,
they do it wrong. Let me make sure I put that in there. Fantasy wise, they
all
do it
those
wrong.
guys get 10 carries apiece.
Yeah,
You know that, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. You get 10 carries apiece. And how can you get anything going by getting 10 carries? And it's not a consistent 10 carries.
Because like Malcolm Brown was awesome last week, but the week before that, I kept saying this on our 42nd. I kept saying Devery Henderson. I'm going way back. Darrell Henderson Jr.
Real hits.
Yeah, I noticed that. I keep saying that. I don't know why I'm thinking about New Orleans wide receivers, but you just don't know. All I can tell you for the Rams is never Cam Akers. Other than that,
they went so high for Cam Akers, and you don't want to play him.
Yeah, it's
And I said this last
it's been
week.
Michael
I was
Brown,
like,
Henderson. Oh yeah, Cam Akers was there, but he's
But
fantasy
like,
irrelevant. Yeah,
you weren't a big fan of Cam Akers anyway.
not at all.
So I feel like they using them wrong. I feel like that whole committee is terrible.
Yeah,
And at some point they're gonna have to make a decision on who they're going with.
It doesn't look like it's going to be this season, but maybe in the off season someone's got. I would think someone's gone from there next year.
I would think so too.
I would think it's Malcolm Brown. I would think. I think they go with the 2 young guys, but what do I know?
I mean, we could be wrong. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead to so we got receivers.
Okay.
And we got I'm gonna call him MVS, Marquise Valdez.
That's it.
Scanlon. So he had 4 receptions, 149 yards, and 1 touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 8 receptions, 135, no touchdowns. Hopkins, we all seen what he did. 7
Just on that play alone, he
just on
deserves
that
to be on
play
the list.
alone,
Right.
127 and a touchdown. T. Higgins is gonna make AJ Green so expendable this all season.
Yeah.
7 receptions, 115 and a touchdown. And I want to give a shout out to Cole Beasley. 11 receptions, 109 and a touchdown.
Top of the list. Top of my list.
So I mean, those are the guys that did work, honestly.
Yeah.
This week at receiver that I felt like did work. And they came out to play, honestly. Like MVS, he 4 receptions, 149.
I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row that he's been that guy. Do you pick him up? Because he's not rostered in a lot of leagues. I was looking at it. In some leagues, it's like less than 15%.
No,
No,
because the second receiver coming off.
Because Lazard's coming back.
Lazard's coming back.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say no. He's gonna slide right back into that 3rd receiver slot.
Okay.
No, because Lazard is coming back for that 2nd spot. So no. Okay. Now, if anything, you pick up Lazard.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pickup too. Yeah.
But you don't. No, I wouldn't do it. No.
Okay.
Now I do have a guy you should pick up, but I mean definitely. But we're going. That's the next. That's for the next. Yeah.
Well, I'll be quick with mine so we can get to your waiver wire selections, and I'm gonna do the same thing with wide receivers that I did with running backs. I'm talking about duos, and it starts with your guy Cole Beasley and his partner Stephon Diggs. Both of them saw double-digit targets, and they both came away with double-digit receptions. They both scored touchdowns. I got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Uh,
Yes.
Jefferson with all the yards, but Adam Thielen with the 2
The touchdown.
touchdowns. And then
Yes.
in Pittsburgh, they got it done. We yo,
Lord
Deontay
mercy.
Johnson, Chase Claypool, and Juju Smith-Schuster all put in big numbers this week. I don't think he can go wrong with any of them. Chase Claypool was the guy with the touchdowns, but the targets, receptions, and the yards were both with Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster. So, hey, Big Ben was spreading that thing around, and
Question for you
yeah.
though: do they all go for 1,000?
At the beginning of the season, I wanted to say yes, they could definitely go, but I think Deontay Johnson, though he's shown he can make up for it. He's missed so many games this year.
Yeah, he missed too many
He
games.
missed so many games, but I think there was talk that there could be 3 1,000-yard receivers in Pittsburgh. Chase
Mm-hmm.
Claypool wasn't one of the names people were mentioning at the beginning. They were saying James Washington, but yeah,
James Washington's an afterthought now.
he's kind of
So,
Mr. Irrelevant right now.
yeah.
But yeah, they look good. They look good. So hey, if you got any of those players, well, I had
I
a
mean,
bunch of those players. And I didn't win a lot, but they put in work for you. So you should have some good feelings for these last 3 regular season games.
so does Juju move back into your top 10 receivers?
I want to say yes, but I'd still say when healthy, I have Deontay Johnson ahead of Juju, but Juju ain't going nowhere. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if all 3 of them can. We seen last year that with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you can definitely have 2 in the
Yeah.
top 5. Can you get 3 in the top 10 or at least 2? I think it's possible. I guess the biggest thing that concerns me going forward is Ben Roethlisberger's age. He says he wants to keep playing for a bit, but
Yeah.
at some point, when does
Now,
that fall apart on you? Do you have
now,
another year where he gets injured and he's out the whole year? I don't
now
know.
this is what I think. Juju is. I want to say this. They did not. Something about his contract where he can be a free agent this year. So,
Mm-hmm.
does Claypool make him expendable?
Hey, everybody is at some point, but this is one of the stories I want to get to before we leave today. But I think Pittsburgh already showed you they'll part with a top wide receiver, he who will
That's true.
remain nameless. And so, I mean, Juju isn't that problem guy like that other guy is, but I don't think they're gonna be moving him anytime soon. I guess is my answer to that. But
Well,
whether he's the top receiver on that team is, I think, what falls apart. Because I think Deontay's already better than him. He can do more. Chase Claypool, I don't think he's as good of a receiver, but he's a big target who's he's gonna take touchdowns away.
he's about as big as Calvin Johnson.
Yeah,
Honestly.
so, yeah,
They put Calvin Johnson height, size, weight, everything next
right.
to him, and he's about as big as, if not bigger than Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
So I think being that Juju, they did not work on that contract, and he's gonna be a free agent this year.
Yeah,
Claypool could. I don't
Yeah.
know. But the only problem I see with that is Deontay Johnson staying healthy.
Yeah,
That's the biggest
that's a big
thing.
if. I think that's
So-
a good reason to keep Juju around, just because you
Yeah.
don't know, right?
That's the biggest thing. But I think Claypool, you can either go Claypool and Juju, or you can go Deontay Johnson and Claypool.
Right.
Either one will be fine.
It's cheaper to go Chase
Claypool
Claypool and Deontay.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
So,
Definitely, you can save
yeah.
some money. You get a tight end, definitely, because they need one. But
Right.
we'll see. I think, hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see, though. Definitely. So I got some waiver wire pickers that you probably can use this week. So the first one is Jameis Winston. We all seen Drew Brees go down. Drew Brees is out for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Gunslinger back. I feel like he's gonna really, whoever has Michael Thomas, and I'm talking to you,
That's me.
he's gonna help your case.
Let me ask you a
because-
question though. Sean Payton has yet to say Jameis Winston is going to be the starter. He said, I'll announce the starting quarterback later. Do you think there's a chance that Taysom Hill is going to be? Because they're both supposed to get first quarterback reps this week.
I think I read that he's going with Jameson Winston. I think I read that.
Okay.
So I think he's going with him.
I didn't see that one today. Last I saw, he hadn't announced, but I would think it'd be Jameis, so yeah. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I think he's going with Jameis. Yeah. I do think Jameson is gonna definitely help Michael Thomas, whoever has Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. Those guys are gonna, especially down the field, because he's gonna throw the ball like it ain't nobody's business. Kamara definitely gonna get his, definitely, because they're gonna keep him in the flow of the game.
That's not gonna change.
That's not gonna change. But I think Michael Thomas gets the biggest. He's the one that wins the most out of this. Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, because you've seen what he did with those two receivers in Tampa Bay last year, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Those two for the next 2 to 3 games, are definitely gonna be. Now, my question for you is this a showcase for Jameis Winston next year?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Jameis got a good amount of play time last week, and he wasn't that impressive. And so get Taysom Hill, even if he's not going to be the starter, because they were mixing in Taysom Hill with Drew Brees there. I'm wondering, are they going to mix in Taysom Hill even more now? So I don't know how. I hope Jameis gets a chance to showcase, because let's be honest, Drew Brees is not a young guy, so they need to know what they have. They picked him up. They need to know what they have in him and whether he's worth keeping. So to me, it seems logical that you would give him as much time to see how he performs with the players you have there. But I can't figure out what Sean Payton's gonna do.
I truly do not like when they bring Hill in. I feel like if you're gonna do that gadget, because it's obvious which way you're gonna go.
He gets in, you figure he's gonna run the ball.
Right. Yeah. So it's not like a secret. Now, he did do one play where he threw the ball.
Pass.
He'll pass, but he's not that great of a passer.
Exactly. So, most likely.
He's running the ball. So, it's like you tell him what play you're going to run. And they always do it on like a 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 5, where you can just easily drop back and pass the ball and get that yardage that you need for a first. That you can get for a first down.
Right.
I just feel like at the end of the day, Jameis Winston got to come in and prove that he can be a quality starting quarterback at the end of the day. Yeah. Because I think this is a showcase for other teams.
Yeah.
Not just New Orleans. Because Drew Brees is 41, 42-ish. So, and I think he may retire this year, at the end of this year anyway. Because you see he's not throwing the long ball no more. So, I don't know. Yeah. But we'll see. Then I got LaMichael Piron, who, for the Jets, they said he's going to get the starting touches. He's going to be the guy for the remainder of the season because they want to see what he got in.
Because Frank Gore is 117?
Very much.
Right.
So they want to see what they got in him, and I think it's a good move for the Jets. I think them trying to see what they got with him so they won't have to draft another running back, I think is a good move. Yeah. And Frank Gore, at this point, he just needed, like I said before about Adrian Peterson, you need to go to the coach and say, look, coach, I'm old, ain't got it no more.
Old and broken down, right?
I'm broken down. Get a young man his chance. And I don't think Adrian Peterson did that. I think like they did that on their own in Detroit. Yeah. But Frank Gore need to go and say, look, I can't look, man. We're not going to win. We're not going to the playoffs. Can you just give him the ball? I'm going to I done made my money. I'm still going to make my money sitting on the bench. Just give him the ball. I understand it. I don't know. I could be wrong. So, I don't know. Then I got Michael Pittman.
Oh, yeah. I had that one written down. Yeah.
Michael Pittman.
He looked good.
Oh, man. Did he? Oh, I picked him up today.
Not surprised.
Yes, he did. 7 receptions, 101 yards, no touchdown. But they say he played 87% of the plays last Sunday. They say, and he's a 3-down receiver. They got him running the ball. I just think he is definitely gonna. We know Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, once he gets a main receiver,
Yeah.
he keys on that receiver a lot. So, it, telling you, and
Yeah, Pittman.
he's the man to pick up.
Pittman's and especially for those in Dynasty, someone already has him already because it's Dynasty, but
Yeah,
hold on to that guy. That's what I'm saying because it's.
yeah,
I think well, probably hold on to that guy. Let me rephrase that because much like Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers is kind of over the hill as well. So you'll see what
yeah.
you end up. But I still think he's a talented guy. So whoever the quarterback is, I think he's gonna be worth holding.
Because I feel like T.Y. Hilton on his way out from Indy. Anyway,
Yeah.
because Pittman is gonna be that guy to take his spot.
Yeah.
It's the same situation like in Cincy with T. Higgins.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is another one that you should, if you're in a dynasty league, T. Higgins is somebody that you hold on to.
Yeah.
And hold on tightly.
I know. and the thing you gotta love about that is he's gonna be with Joe Burrow for the foreseeable future. So they're starting off together. So that combination.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
And it's I'm gonna kind of jump away from. I got some more waivers, but just to stay on that a little bit.
Okay.
Justin Jeffries.
These young
Michael
guys.
Pittman. Ayuk.
I was about to say you got to bring your guy up, right?
Ayuk. Yeah. Samuels. Those receivers, those young receivers, the T. Higgins of the world. You have to hold on, especially in the Dynasty League, which we supposed to be starting when. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that because those young guys are definitely gonna be the ones you want to keep around because they all they're gonna do is get better. Now we don't know the situation with some of their quarterbacks, obviously, but like in Minnesota, you have Kirk Cousins, who ain't going nowhere unless they decide not to want to pay him no more. And Phillip Rivers is on a 1-year deal, but we don't know what they're gonna do with quarterback going into next year.
Right.
So we just don't know. But those guys you really want to hold on to.
Would you put Jacoby Myers in that same group? Not as much. You don't have as many data points for him so far.
You don't have not as much, but I think out there using him in these different ways of throwing touchdowns and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he definitely you would definitely want to keep and say, you know what? But Belichick, with his receivers, you kind of can tell who's that number one, unlike you can with his running backs.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, I think Myers is definitely the one you hold on to, and I think he's a big target too.
Yeah.
He's not small. He's not a small guy. So
I think he's because people been waiting for. I wasn't gonna call him terrible, but
terrible,
disappointing. Was gonna be the word I used.
He has had 2 years to figure out.
Well, the first year he couldn't play. So I can't hold that.
Okay, what's wrong with this year?
That's different.
So what he's saying, Myers came in and but the thing, I'm glad you brought him up. You know who came back last week from injury? N'Keal Harry. And who got more targets? Myers. So again, he has already blown past N'Keal Harry in a span of 6 games? I'm just saying. And the thing is, again, that quarterback situation is even worse because we don't know where they going. So, is it going to be Cam staying there?
I don't think so. We'll see.
No. I don't think so either. But I think they're going to get a rookie out of the draft. We'll see.
I think what we can say for certain is they are 100% sure that Jarrett Stidham is not the future, and they're 100% certain that Brian Hoyer is not good. Which we already knew anyway, but he knew the system, so they kept. But I think if either one of those two had any potential for the future, we'd see them because Cam has not been very impressive.
Well, the last 2 weeks, Cam has been a little bit of Cam, and he played well, but it's not like
right.
Cam has. I want to say Cam has less than 2,000 yards passing this year. It's some odd number. He has I want to say under 1,500
Yeah.
yards. I want to say he got like 14 include. Well, if you include last week, he probably at about 1,500 yards with like 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions or something like that. It's something weird, but he got like 8 rushing touchdowns. So,
Yeah.
but I just think those actual. I think Myers is somebody that's going to be around there for a long time because Julian Edelman out. He probably on his way out, but just because of the fact that he stayed hurt, unless they get a quarterback in there that can kind of give him the ball. But
Right. I,
I don't
I
know.
pulled it up. Cam is 1535 yards. He has 9 rushing touchdowns, but only 3
Hey,
passing touchdowns, and he has
seven
7
interceptions.
interceptions. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think that works for Belichick. I would be
no.
very surprised to see him still there next year.
I mean, they're gonna have to, but they winning games though.
They're
So
winning.
they kind of they kind of pulling themselves out of a lottery pick to get a
Right.
quarterback. So they would have to go a route to find another quarterback. And with the news that came out yesterday,
Uh,
I want to say Garoppolo. They saying Garoppolo not going anywhere, so he's gonna be in
right.
San Francisco for
And how
20.
disappointed are you by that news?
Uh,
Because you were on the let's get Matt Ryan uh, bandwagon.
I'm not gonna say I'm happy.
Right.
Um, because it's something in his contract where it says it's no he has a no trade clause.
Okay.
So in order for him to get traded, he would have to approve it to whatever team he wanted to go to.
Right.
Now, but they saying they expect him to be there in 2021. I don't know how happy I am about that. I want Matt Ryan, honestly. So, but I'm a trooper and I'm gonna roll with my team. So
Right.
I guess I gotta go with him.
Yeah.
But that kind of kills the dream of a reunion for him going back
Shanahan.
to England.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Matt Ryan Shanahan
Hey.
reunion and it kills the Belichick Garoppolo reunion in New
Oh.
England. So
Right.
I mean, because I think that was the only quarterback they probably would have got or wanted because he knows the
So,
system. He
yeah.
can come in and get plugged already. So I don't think really at the end of the day, I just don't know, man. Like I think Cam doesn't. I don't think Cam finds the team next year.
Really.
Honestly,
Hmm.
as a backup, but as a starter,
I would say I disagree, and I think he gets somewhere. But based off last year, he went the whole off season with no one even
yeah,
remotely interested. I'll tell you somebody who should be interested. We saw in another injury, Nick Foles go down again uh,
the Bears.
with the Bears, and they are, I'm pretty sure, done with Mitch Trubisky. Uh,
Yeah,
Nagy is, at least from what people are saying, really in love with Nick Foles. I cannot
God,
understand why, but
Nick
but
Foles
I
terrible.
could see Cam being a impact player in a team like Chicago. But if they're really convinced Nick Foles is good, then the Bears are hopeless because that's not gonna that's terrible.
And I think honestly, you're starting to see the problems that Cam kind of is having.
Yeah,
Cam accuracy is not
not
really
good,
that good.
not good.
His accuracy is terrible. He he throws the balls be wobbly that he threw down the field, and it doesn't look like a clean throw. So I
Yeah,
think that's part of the problem. I mean, he still has the strength of running. That's one of his strengths. That's
yeah,
probably going to keep him as a starting quarterback. Now, if I was Chicago, I would take Cam over Nick Foles any day of the week.
yeah.
That's just me. I think with that defense and Cam, they could make headway a little bit.
If
Um,
you go to somewhere where like that's why I like Cam there because that defense is so good. You really just need a ball control guy,
yeah,
and a strong running game, and add him. I can't say Montgomery's convinced me he's that guy, but they seem convinced to get feeding him the ball. Before he was
that's
hurt,
true.
they were giving him all the carries. So I think they could work out a system with Cam
Yeah,
where we only need you to do such and such and such. Our defense will carry us the rest of the way. So
I mean, because Cam right now is I don't think he no better than Teddy Bridgewater personally.
I
And
would.
Teddy Bridgewater,
Teddy Bridgewater is one of my surprise guys for this year. He's played. Well, unfortunately, also got injured this week, but he's played much better than I expected.
yeah,
I thought he was going to be that ball control guy, which he kind of has been, but not as much. He's been slinging. Well, slinging's probably a strong word, but he's been throwing it around.
That's the thing, though. What did I say at the beginning of the year? He's a dink and dunk.
Yeah.
He's not going to be effective. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm wrong about that one because he is throwing the ball down the field. And it just shows you why he was a high draft pick when he was with Minnesota.
Right.
He has the talent.
Yeah.
And it's really not his fault that they're losing. It's really the defense fault.
Yeah.
The defense is bad.
But that team's really not good, honestly. It's
not.
Yeah.
It's not. I would say that. I mean, you got to.
And it's their first year with a new coach, new system as well. So I won't. I'm just saying, from a fantasy standpoint, I've seen a lot more from Teddy Bridgewater than I ever expected to see. And some of that might be because, CMC's been pretty much out this whole year. Maybe they've had to rely on him a lot more. But all I know is Teddy's looking good.
Now, I was talking to Keith the other day, and we was talking about
that's our Bills fan.
That's Bills for life. We gotta love them. And we was talking about quarterbacks going into next year, and we always had those conversations. And he was like, so he sent me his top 10 quarterbacks going into next year.
Josh Allen was number 1.
And I'm gonna tell you the list that he sent.
Okay.
So his top 10 quarterbacks going into next year was, and this is in particular order, by the way. Okay. This is his order. Mahomes.
Okay.
Kyler Murray. Matt Ryan. Allen.
Okay.
Josh Allen.
I'm surprised he didn't make the top 3.
Russell Wilson. Herbert. Prescott. Watson. Joe Burrow. And Breeze. And then he asked me, he was like, that's his top 10. And I said, you forgot about Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I mean, he's having an MVP year. What are you not seeing? He was like, who are you taking out of the top 10? I said, you're taking out Breeze. That's easy.
You're definitely taking out Drew Brees. I'm taking out Dak Prescott, honestly, until I see him back healthy. So.
Kyler Murray at 2, though?
Kyler Murray is number 1 right now. So
at 2, Herbert at 5.
Herbert
6?
is a. We're gonna discuss some award, 3/4 of the way award guys. But Justin Herbert, he gets one from me because I expected nothing from him this year, and he's instantly showing you he's a top guy. He has him up high. I will say that he has him up pretty high, but. I can see him in the top 10, definitely.
He said he would go Breeze. So if you take out Breeze, I say, well, put Aaron Rodgers in it. He was like, well, no, I'm not going Aaron Rodgers. He said, I'll put Goff in there
over
stupid.
Aaron Rodgers. No.
I was like, you got to be kidding me, right?
No.
He was like, I'm telling you. I was like, man, would you? And you got to, we have these conversations all the time.
Hey, you know me from like 2 years ago. I was huge on Jared Goff. And he's done nothing but convince me that I was completely wrong on that one. No.
Yeah, I was like,
I vetoed Jared Goff from the beginning. No.
Yeah, I said, come on, Keith, you're killing me. I was like, he was like, I'm telling you, man, this is my list. Like, honestly, it's a lot of, like, just looking at his list.
It's not a bad list.
I feel like Joe,
but
it's not a bad list.
But it's not the right list.
Joe Burrow that high? Burrow that high?
Why do you keep continuing to doubt Joe Burrow?
I'm not doubting him.
You kind of
are. I'm not doubting him.
Okay.
I don't know. I would have to revisit this at a later date when it's that time.
What's interesting for that list is, did I hear Lamar Jackson's name? Because I don't think I did.
Oh no.
I didn't.
Oh no.
Right.
Oh no. He He said Lamar Jackson out of the top 20.
Really?
And I said that last week.
Right.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is not a top 20 fantasy quarterback next year.
Okay.
That's 10. Matter of fact, that's 12 names.
Yeah.
That's I just named. That's 12.
Mm-hmm.
You can name 8 more quarterbacks that's better than him right now. Telling you, man.
Hey, I didn't mention it in my wide receivers, but I will point out Willie Snead had 2 touchdowns. we said that they were going to throw the ball around a lot more this week, and we thought Hollywood would get some of that love.
But it was
Willie Snead? I'm like, really?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you, Willie Snead.
Willie Snead.
Really. First of all, they have no second receiver. They have no third receiver.
Yeah.
So, no. I'm just telling you, he is not going to be. All right, so out of that 12, can you name me 8 more quarterbacks? Well, can you name 8 more quarterbacks I can name 8 that's better than him right now?
I put him ahead of Jared Goff. So there we go. I don't even need to go 8. So if Jared Goff was in that 12, I put Lamar Jackson.
In fantasy?
Next year.
Next year in fantasy. Jared, you do know Jared Goff be throwing for like 4,500 yards, right?
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
And that's just more of the hatred you have for Jared Goff.
Jared Goff did me wrong. You can.
We know you hold grudges with players.
Hey, I am that way.
Does Tom Brady make that list?
The ahead of Lamar Jackson list or the top 10 or 20? He's definitely in the top 20. In fact, I would say from what you're seeing from Tom Brady right now, you could possibly make an argument that Tom Brady could be a top 10 quarterback next year. I don't know whether I buy it, but you could make it.
Who are you taking out for Tom Brady?
See, I have to go back to see. I don't have my list ready, but I'm just saying.
It's just based off that list.
Yeah, but I don't remember the whole 10 list. But I'm just saying, you can argue that with another year with that team, Tom Brady, he has all. Hey, Jameis Winston was a top quarterback with that group of characters. You can argue, I think, effectively that Tom Brady can get in the top 10 next year.
Okay.
He's not going to probably be in my top 10, but I would listen to that argument. Yeah.
You go Matthew Stafford over Lamar Jackson?
Matthew Stafford he's not there yet, but he's starting to make me think he might be an injury problem.
Could be.
Yeah. So.
Could be. Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, I'm taking Lamar Jackson over Phillip Rivers. In a heartbeat. I'm not. I don't even have to hesitate or think about that one.
Oh Lord.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Phillip Rivers is toast. You talk about Drew Brees can't do the long throws anymore. Sometimes Phillip Rivers can't do the intermediate throws. Phillip Rivers is
Teddy Bridgewater.
Honestly, if I'm going potential, I think Lamar Jackson has. Lamar Jackson last year made you believe he could do anything. Lamar Jackson this year is highly disappointing. I think next year you're going to see him somewhere in between those two.
You do know Teddy Bridgewater got better numbers than him this year, right?
Yeah, I just said. I said potential. I think Lamar Jackson is better than Teddy. I said last year you saw Lamar Jackson could do anything. This year he's been a disappointment. Next year, we're talking future. I think
he does not. Look, I'm gonna keep saying this. He does not look past his first option.
In his second year playing.
His brain is to run the ball. That's all.
In the second year as a starter. That's what I said. Potential. I'm going when you do drafting, you're going pure potential. What can this guy do? I've at least with my eyes seen Lamar Jackson can be a top tier quarterback, as in number 1 through 3 in potential rankings. I have not seen that from Teddy Bridgewater.
All right, watch these people. Watch this. I just watch this.
Yeah.
Barbershop draft.
That's
Back
well.
in.
You gotta go with the
answer,
league. You gotta go with.
You got to answer the question. Barbershop draft.
The barbershop, for those that don't know, is a completely different animal than your typical fantasy. In that league, no, I would not go Lamar Jackson high.
No,
in that league.
let me finish. Barbershop league.
Okay.
Enter the draft. 9, 10. Are you going Lamar Jackson on that wraparound?
No. Let's explain it to the audience, because you have to know the barbershop rules before you can make that. You can ask that question. In the barbershop rule, the number one thing that's going to get you success are quarterbacks that make a lot of passes and end up with a lot of yards. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens aren't going to ever be that. They're a running team. Like, straight up. They are a running team. There's a reason that they've led the NFL in rushing these last 2 years. That's their DNA. You don't want Lamar Jackson in that league. And that's no matter how many touchdowns. In his last year, when he led the league in touchdowns, he was still the number 11 quarterback in the barbershop. He was like number 1 in most of your standard leagues. So it's a completely different beast.
And where is he going to finish this year in that league? Because I can't wait to.
It's not going to be good. I don't know where he's going to, but it's not going to be good.
I will say he's a number 2 quarterback in that league, but that's on a late wraparound.
Yeah,
and I mean not 10, but I'm talking like coming back to the middle of the pack.
Yeah, he's not going to. It's not going to be a good year for him in that particular league.
So that takes him out of the top 15 right there alone.
And once again, barbershop rules. Aren't we supposed to be doing waiver claims? I still see that at the bottom of the screen. No, do you have some? This is not the Bash Lamar Jackson show.
Okay. And my next one is Rex Burkhead. He definitely.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Definitely somebody you need to pick up. He's available. And Bashard Perriman. He had a good game with Flacco last week.
Joe Flacco is somebody I think I picked because he's supposed to start again. I
picked him up.
Yeah.
Because I needed a quarterback. My quarterback was hurt, so I picked him up. Matter of fact, it was Drew Brees.
I had to decide between, and I also had Drew Brees hurt, so I had to decide between whether I wanted to pick up Joe Flacco or Jameis Winston. Because I had the opportunity for either one, so I went Drew Brees. Somebody else in that league picked up Joe Flacco, and Orlando News. Thank you for the comment. She said that was funny, and so yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with whatever we're talking about. I don't even know right now. All right, let me
Actually, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. This is what we do all the time. We have conversation, and this is normally
us.
This is us all day. We just go at each other. It's not going at each other, but we have conversations like this. You listen to us have regular, just fantasy conversations about stuff, and we just going. And so enjoy it because this is
fantasy football talk at its finest. And I want to talk about picking up Kalen Ballage, who comes off the practice squad and just says, "I'm the best running back on this team." And Lynn was their coach Anthony Lynn was saying they're going to go with Ballage for the remainder of this season until you get Eckler back. So Joshua Kelly, Justin Jackson, sorry, y'all aren't good enough. Kalen Ballage is going to be that dude.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's huge. I was looking at his ownership. He's instantly become one of the biggest pickups. With I think he went from 0 to 59%. I was looking at on ESPN because the 2 games that he's played, he's been a monster, and I'm surprised you didn't mention Salvin Ahmed.
Because I don't believe in him.
You don't believe in him? Then I thought you picked him up last week, or maybe.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I don't believe in him.
You're not getting on the Dolphins bandwagon. They can't lose with Tua as their quarterback, apparently. Right.
Their starting running back is about to come back in a week. So I don't.
It's a temporary fix. Yeah.
It's a temporary fix, honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a good idea, personally.
I saw him as one of the trending guys that a lot of people are picking up, and I had that same thought you did. Like Gaskins is still alive, right? He's he's coming
Yes.
back. He's been amazing. I say that the time that he's been there, but I'm with you. I don't know unless they're gonna be the Broncos. I mean Broncos. What am I talking about? Well, kind of the Broncos because they do the same situation, but not as well.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say the Cleveland Browns of the South, where they're gonna just run two running backs, like they do. But yeah,
I just don't gas. I mean, Gas is coming back.
yeah,
That's why I'm not big on that hype for
yeah.
him. So
Are you
I'm
buying?
not
Are
gonna
you
jump
buying
on
on the
that train.
Dolphins as a team? Do you think what we're seeing
Um,
is real? Because I've been picking against the Dolphins for the past few weeks, and I think I'm
I
gonna have to
picked the Dolphins
stop.
this week.
Yeah, right.
You wildin'. I picked the Dolphins this week.
Hey, I
Now,
didn't say I was gonna pick against them this week. I'm just saying the
don't
last
do it.
3 weeks I've been
Don't.
no to the Dolphins, but
No.
uh,
I, I I think it's real,
right,
but I'm not sure. I mean,
right.
now is tour real? Is the question.
I don't know
That's
because first week terrible, second week great, last week not
yeah.
good. So it's like
I,
he's what a rookie should be. You know, like
yeah.
Justin Herbert is some rookie phenomenon. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows what's happening with him? And the other rookie guy, Smoking Joe. These
Right.
guys are rookies and they're lights out. Tua is playing like an actual rookie where he's up and down. So
Yeah,
I don't,
definitely.
I don't really know. But that, like you said, that defense is the truth, and I think
I don't. I don't know. They don't lean on Tua
right. They don't
as
have
much
to.
as
Right,
like a Cincinnati would with Joe Barrow.
right.
So they kind of mix the running game a little bit more heavier than they would the passing game because you can see all his receivers are the numbers are down
Yeah,
across the board for all his receivers. So I think at the end of the day, it's more of that defense and blending in that running game and then letting him throw a little bit to feel comfortable.
mm-hmm.
I mean, because he did some stuff last week where he did a little fake to the right and
Right.
threw it to the
That's
right.
all that.
It was crazy. It was a little, but they working some stuff out for him. But they can win a division, honestly.
Surprisingly, right.
So I mean, I can't be mad at them if they win a division. It's theirs for the
Yeah,
taking, honestly. I mean, because if Buffalo don't get their act together and they won last week,
yeah.
but
But
like
you're kind of
this,
trying to starting to see they're not that good. Well, they're not bad, but they're not that good.
yeah, that's what
Speaking
I'm saying.
of Buffalo, it's not a waiver claim you can do with it, but since we're at the 3/4 of the way mark, I'm
Yeah,
almost convinced you can just give up on any Buffalo running back right now.
yes,
Like Zach
yeah.
Moss, Devin Singletary, just throw them both away.
That's such a
Yeah,
sad state. I
it's
mean, because I had high hopes for Devin Singletary,
yeah.
and
I think
and
we
it's
both
really
did.
not him. It's really the system they run.
Yeah,
I mean, Josh Allen is the running back and quarterback
yeah,
in that system.
yeah. He is.
So I, I don't think they will have any success, honestly, with a running back coming out there because of the fact that Josh Allen is the guy that's gonna run the ball.
Yeah,
They have made it known that's they want to do, especially it reminds me like earlier when Cam was in Carolina and all they did, he took away
very
so
much.
much
Like I agree with that
from
100%.
those running backs. That's exactly what they doing in Buffalo. They take like the running backs are non-void. Like honestly, they don't even exist in Buffalo. And it's gonna go into next year with neither even if they bring in a running back in the draft or
Would
however
they
they
do
do it,
that? They brought in running backs the past 2 years with Singletary and Zach Moss. 3 years in a row? I don't see it happen. I think it's who they are. It's like you said, they're that early Panthers team with Cam Newton. That's them.
maybe they feel like they ain't the answer. I mean, I, I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, Josh Allen is the running back from that 20
Yeah,
down to the end zone, end of the period.
yeah,
And if they need a couple yards, either a bootleg, quarterback sneak. So yes, you get rid of Devin Singletary immediately. You
yeah.
drop him. I dropped him in a couple leagues
Right.
because I kept him in one league because that league is you get a yard for every five, a
Right.
point for every 5 yards. So
I
it makes him look good in that league.
I know I picked up Zach Moss in a couple of these, and I know I dropped him in at least one because
Yeah.
I was like, why, 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 why? Because he might have a good game here or there, but you never know when it is. In the other league I kept him in, I think it's just because there was nothing else interesting out there to
Yeah.
grab. So I was like, just hold on to him, put him at the end of the bench. But
But we,
we
we,
had
we
some
got
other
a
news stories though.
got some news stories. Speaking of Drew Brees, um, with the Brees injury, my question for you: does that hurt them from winning the division, being that they're in a tight battle with Tampa Bay? But keep in mind, they have a 2-game lead over Tampa Bay in a division.
What
Would would the gunslinger out there, Jameis Winston, do? Can he hold that division lead over Tampa Bay?
I I don't know if you see this picture, but Drew Brees has the best medical staff there is.
Yeah, I seen that
They
with his
showed him with his
kids.
kids,
Yeah,
cute. Uh, and I think that's all they need, just because he says I'm back in 2 weeks. So if he's
really.
back, I was like, really? But I wouldn't be surprised. NFL, you get your shot, you're good to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
But I
The
was like,
cortisone in the
like
back. Yeah,
a collapsed lung and broken ribs, that just seems like it should take you more than a couple of weeks, right? But
yeah. It should.
we'll see if he can come back and he can. It's not like Drew Brees was really lighting it up because
Yeah,
he wasn't throwing the long, but it was basically a lot of it's. He's really just
thinking
throwing
about.
to Alvin Kamara, so
Yeah,
he don't need full strength for that. And if James can just hold it back, I think that the Saints apparently are a much better team than the Bucks. At least it has been every time we watched them play this year.
exactly.
And so, yeah, I think they're still your favorite to win that division.
Okay, I give you that. Then my second one is also we gonna roll with the Saints again. Then
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hop onto this other one.
Go for it.
They say the Saints could lose draft picks for violating COVID-19. So, I mean, I, this is my thing. I don't understand. All you had to do is watch the Raiders. Did I say
Somebody said
that?
it.
All you gotta do is watch how the Raiders lost draft picks and was fined 100,000. If I'm not mistaken, your coach was fined 100,000. The team was fined 100,000. Is you gotta come on, like you gotta
Hey,
follow protocol. Like stop it.
I was gonna say who is worse at COVID-19 protocol, the Saints or the Raiders? Because
The Raiders.
we have. All right, it's a rhetorical question.
No, it's not. It's the Raiders. The Raiders got 10 defensive players on a COVID list
Hey,
right now.
we
7 went
went
up there
1 week without our offensive line, so we're going to go another week apparently without a defense. Whatever. We're
Oh
playing the
Lord.
Chiefs this week. We're not going to win anyway. So
I mean, how do you had 7 people go on the COVID list today? 7. What are y'all doing out there? Are y'all partying too much? I
they're
need
in
the
Vegas,
insight.
baby. They're living it up.
I mean,
They're in
can you
Vegas.
make a phone call and tell them to stop partying so much? I mean, because I know you got this on your news topic as the stricter
Yeah,
COVID
we are in
19.
intensive protocol all across the NFL, which means
Can you explain it though?
well,
What it
okay.
is?
Here's what they're saying. The intensive protocol is all you have to have a negative test, a negative COVID test the day before you go into the any facility, um, which is only a little bit more than what it was before. So it's a very minor, I think, detail. But you have to have a negative test before you enter a facility. You have to wear your mask the entire time you're inside the buildings. You can no longer have any in-person meetings. All your meetings have to be done virtually, or you have to have your stuff outdoors, like your practices. Um, they have other little small things like you can't have lunch in the all your meals have to be grab and go, so no one's congregating in centers. But to me, the biggest thing about this intensive protocol is they said that 28 of 32 teams have already been on intensive protocol at least at some point this year. So to me, it's like, okay, well, we're not really doing a whole lot different. But I think it's a big story because of the rising number of cases across the country. So this is the NFL's way of saying, hey, we notice it, we're doing something about it. But if the majority of the league has already been on it, then it's a more of a headline than I think it is going to be a big deal. I don't think it's going to really affect much of what's been going on, except for the Raiders, who apparently just can't stay healthy, even with
Y'all,
yeah,
y'all cannot
whatever.
stop partying for some reason. I mean, I think
Man,
it was a bad move moving to Vegas for y'all, honestly.
hey, it's Vegas, baby.
Whatever. Yeah. So,
So
uh, I got one last news, but I want to just hold that to the end. That's more of a highlight of something big that the NFL is doing, but we don't really have to talk about it. That's just something I want to just say. But you did say something about we was talking earlier before we came on about who is the MVP of
yeah,
fantasy in the NFL in your eyes right now at this kind of mid-season stretch that we have. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with Matt. I want to say
okay.
Dalvin Cook is one. I hate Josh Allen, but I think Josh Allen has definitely proved me wrong. He's definitely one of the guys,
Yeah,
and I want
he's
to say low key Matt Ryan,
very low key, but I
low
agree.
key. So Matt Ryan is not having. They ain't had a great season as far as real life winning games, but if you look
Yeah,
at the numbers that he's put up, he's definitely put up big numbers in fantasy this year. So definitely, if and I want to do an honorable mention to DK Metcalf. He's
yeah.
another one. So for me, so who do
Welcome.
you have?
Well, first, welcome Anita to the show. Uh, glad you could join us. I don't know whether you missed your guy Rodney bashing Lamar Jackson earlier, but I think you should just know he was very disrespectful.
Just keeping it 100. That's all I can do.
But my top guy for this fantasy season has been Alvin Kamara. Dalvin Cook has been excellent. Um, and it's hard for me not to give it to him. I agree with you that he's been
Yeah.
the star. But Alvin Kamara, I think, just given the fact that he was so ineffective last year,
Mm-hmm.
the story he said so he was dealing with a lot of injuries last year. But with Michael Thomas being out, Alvin Kamara has picked it up big time. He's pretty much been like a one man show
That's true.
and not so much as a running back, as a receiver. So he's picking up for everything that you've been missing with Michael Thomas. Unfortunately, I didn't have Alvin Kamara in any leagues. I had Michael Thomas in 4, so it's not helping me out any. But I can't say enough about how good he's been. And I'm also going to go with Kyler Murray, who I think we both had as one of our big
Definitely.
quarterback guys. And I think I have to go back and look at our list. I think we had him either in the top tier or he was like right on the edge where he could be a top tier guy this year, and he has been the number one guy. Them getting Nuke there was just brilliant. It was a steal.
Brilliant.
and
Man.
so, as upset as Deshaun Watson is, Kyler Murray has to be loving it. Um,
Yes.
those are my biggest guys. I wanted to say Russell Wilson was an MVP, but not based off the last 2 weeks. I have to take him out
No.
of my. He was in the running up until about midpoint of the season. He was definitely there.
Yeah.
We got a couple of questions and comments. I just want to say welcome Fabian Vasquez to the show. Yo yo, and we have a
What up?
question from Shooter Q. Thank you for joining
Shoot.
us. He says, "Would you drop McKinnon for Debo Samuel?" And I'm gonna let you answer that because it's all about your team. If y'all don't know, Rodney is the world's greatest 49ers fan. So
You better believe
your question:
it.
are you dropping
uh,
McKinnon for Debo?
yes. And Debo, we're on the bye this week, obviously. Debo is coming back next week. Raheem Mostert's coming back next week. Tevin Coleman's coming back next week. So, in all scheme of things, yes, you would drop him for Debo. Um, with that whole group coming back, with Brandon Ayuk, Debo, and Raheem Mustard, those are going to be your 3 main guys. With a sprinkle of Tevin Coleman, so yes, drop him. I wouldn't. You have no use for him, honestly.
once
So
Mustard gets back, right?
yeah, you have no use for him. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Unfortunately, we talked earlier in the show about how I went big on Michael Thomas this year, and his injuries have made that painful for me. I also went big on Debo. I had Debo in like 3 leagues,
Yes.
and he's been on IR for these teams like literally the entire season. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to Debo getting back and hopefully helping me with my playoff push because we
Yeah.
have
Me
three
too.
more We have 3 more weeks of this season of the regular NFL, unless you're in the league that plays 17. But we have 3 weeks left, so for fantasy football. So I'm hoping Debo can help me get over the hump and get in a push for the playoffs.
Definitely.
So yeah, thanks for the question, Shooter Q. Get rid of McKinnon, put in Debo. Thanks.
Yes.
Fabian has a question. How do you feel about Jonnu Smith, Tennessee Titans tight end?
I like Jonnu Smith.
I love
I,
Jonnu
I like
Smith in the
Jonnu Smith.
beginning of this season, but I'll let you answer your question first.
I like Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is the second receiver there, in my opinion,
Yeah,
behind AJ Brown.
I agree.
Um, because he gets the most targets right after AJ Brown. So I would say they really keep him involved. They
Yeah,
do the running plays for him to get in the end zone. So I like Jonnu Smith. I do. I like him a lot. Actually.
I have Jonnu Smith in one league, and that's not because I don't. If you don't know, Fabian, I'll tell you a little bit. I play in 7 leagues, and I have Jonnu Smith in just one of them. I would have had him in more if I could get him, because I thought Jonnu Smith was going to be really good this year because uh, he showed, I think, at last year that he's a talented guy, and I think I like Jonnu Smith a lot going forward. This year, he's one of the top tight ends, actually.
It
But
really is.
this is, to me, has seemed like a really bad year for tight ends. Because, I think before the season started, we were talking about there's probably, I think we said like 10 guys
At
that
least
we
10,
thought,
yeah.
we said it was like 10 guys because usually it's Travis Kelce, the greatest tight end that there ever was. And then there's George Kittle
Oh my
and Zach
gosh.
Ertz. That's been how it's been.
Oh,
But I think this year we expect to see a lot of big tight ends. But this year, especially with Kittle being hurt, Zach Ertz being hurt, you haven't really seen teams utilize the tight end the way I think both of us really expect them to be.
hmm
So I like Jonathan Smith because he's one of the best tight ends right now.
yeah.
I have to be honest and say I'm a little bit disappointed with how he's been used this year. I thought he was going to have bigger numbers than he did. But if you're in a dynasty league, for instance, if you had Jonathan Smith, I think looking forward, you're going to be very happy with him. This year, he's been so-so.
I
Well,
mean,
he's
like,
been. I don't want to say so-so. That's not right because I think he's like the top 5 tight end for
yeah.
standard scoring. So he hasn't been bad, but he just hasn't been as good as I was expecting him to be.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at usage,
Yeah,
he gets the usage.
yeah.
So that's always a plus because he's getting the
But
usage
does he get
of.
the touchdowns? He has what 5 or
Ye-
6, I think, on the year
I mean, but that's
in
that's
yards. That's not bad. It's not
that's
bad.
not bad compared to other tight ends. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Mark
like I said, he's one of
Andrews,
the leading tight ends this year. So,
he's doing better than Mark Andrews this year. Mark
but
Andrews
we
was a
did.
top three tight end coming into this year.
Mm-hmm.
So was Ertz. So in really it's really him and Waller.
Yeah,
Him and
I mean,
like Smith and Waller are definitely two guys that
Kelsey's
will
been the
move up
top
that list.
guy. Waller's been definitely the number 2 guy, and
Yeah,
then after that, you can say I would definitely go. I, I think Jonathan Smith's probably 3rd or 4th in my
because with injuries,
rankings. So,
with
yeah,
injuries and stuff, like if you had all your tight ends playing, you definitely have your normal 1 and 2. However, people have it, Kittles and Kelsey or
yeah,
whatever. But then you'll have Waller. Well, Mark Andrews was number 3, I
yeah,
think, coming into the year,
yeah,
and then it was Ertz, and then it was Waller.
yeah,
John Smith was down in that
yeah. So
6 to 10 range, I think. So I think he moves up, and I like John Smith actually.
I,
I
I
think he
love,
moves
like I
up.
said, I love Jonathan Smith. I think you're gonna see bigger things. Fabian has a follow up. Which he said, what should I do with Jimmy Graham? Trade for Jonnu? I would trade for Jonnu if I could.
Like
On the
yesterday.
Jimmy, yeah. Here's the thing about Jimmy Graham. His best days are way behind him,
Yes,
way behind for him.
very much.
And the thing about Chicago is no matter who the quarterback is, they only really look at Allen Robinson consistently.
That's it.
And so, well, hold up. They only look. I still stand by. They only look for Allen Robinson significantly. But I actually meant to mention since we ended up talking Chicago. Cordero Patterson. and,
Yeah.
and I know this is not anywhere near your question, Fabian. Sorry, I'm digressing. Uh, he's been a very interesting pickup with Montgomery hurt.
Yeah.
And so when we were doing waiver wires, I actually meant to mention Cordero Patterson, and I completely forgot. So that Chicago thing let me just remember that part. But going back to your actual question, yes, I'm trading for Jonnu Smith if I can.
Yeah, I would definitely
Yeah.
do that. So
Thanks for
before
the
the
question.
trade deadline anyway.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah.
Tony is joining us, and he just wanted to say Darren Waller because I don't know why. I guess because we're talking tight ends, and Darren
Yeah.
Waller's the greatest because he plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm with you, Tony.
Oh Lord have mercy. Lord.
Well, he's like the third best tight end after Travis Kelce.
After Kittles and
Yeah.
Kelsey and Waller,
Yeah.
in that particular
After,
order.
in that particular order.
Whatever.
Yeah, Fabian talked about Jimmy Graham has decent. Yeah, Jimmy Graham is I think like depending on your league, he's definitely a top 10 guy. I would just
Yeah.
but if I had to choose between Jonnu Smith or
Smith.
Jimmy Graham, and I don't have to give up, and please let us know, are you getting this like a straight up trade offer, Jimmy Graham for Jonnu? Because if it's straight up, then
Yeah,
in a
you're doing
heartbeat, I'm doing that because I would much rather have Jonnu Smith over, especially with the fact that who knows what's about to happen
The
with the
quarterback.
rest of the year, the quarterback situation in Chicago. Because no matter who it is, they're both bad. So
They saying what, Tyler Bray or somebody?
yeah, Tyler Bray. It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to be
Yeah.
someone awful. So
Yeah, definitely. So
and I am a sudden believer in Ryan Tannehill. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks now. Who knew?
yeah, he is definitely in.
Who knew?
But Tannehill looks for Smith though.
Yeah.
So I think that's a plus too. So Smith, if you can make that trade and it's a 1-for-1,
Yeah.
you doing that like instantly.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
definitely making that trade. So yeah. Okay.
By the way, speaking of tight ends, Anthony Wilkins, since I know you're still listening, let us know what you think about Logan Thomas. Because he's been getting a lot of targets lately. Yeah.
The targets are there, but the production is
The
not
production it's off and on, right?
Yeah.
Because he's getting about a consistent, I'd say 5 targets every game. But that's targets. Sometimes he only ends up with 1 reception or 2 receptions out of that. So,
well, I will say this though, on a positive note,
right.
he was a former quarterback turned
Right.
tight end, so he's only been a
He's
tight
fairly
end
new
for
to the position, right?
a couple years. For him to be doing this well after making that transition from that position to this one, I'm not mad at him. I think he gets the targets. And if he stays in Washington and they can get a better quarterback out there, I think he can be useful because he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So I do think I'm not saying he's bad. I just think the targets out there is just he's not making good use of them right now. So
yeah, I don't know if I blame that totally on him or on that offense. We'll see. We'll see what. Like I said, the target he has to improve a bit. But I think Logan Thomas is looking like. Hey, like I said, there's been so many problems with tight ends and injuries.
Yeah.
There's been injuries. He's not a bad fill-in guy.
Not at all.
We're almost done with bye weeks, but I've had the opportunity to use Logan Thomas a few times. Unfortunately, and this is why I asked Tony what he thinks about him. Every time I filled him in has been his bad weeks. Like he has great weeks when he's on waiver wires, and when I put him on my squad,
he don't do nothing.
You're guaranteed that he will only get 1 reception for 3 yards. So
that is so true. So he definitely catching a dud easy. So
yeah.
I mean, it's just tight ends like you. Dallas Goedert has been bad this year.
He has been hurt a lot, and that's another guy because at the beginning of the season, I think we thought that Dallas Goedert could challenge Zach Ertz for that top spot. He hasn't really had the opportunity, and since he's been back, he hasn't really done much either. So we'll see. We got another question from Fabian about his running back core. Do you think this is good? I'm gonna say for the most part, yes. He has Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
What's Hines' first name? Liam Hines,
Hines.
Darrell Henderson, and Harris. Damian Harris. We talked
Okay.
about Damian
Uh,
at the beginning of
Early.
the show.
Yes.
He looks like he's gonna be that guy. I love Josh Jacobs. I'm a Raiders fan, so Liam Hines has been an up and down kind of guy. He was up this past week. He actually was on my list of running backs to talk about. 70 yards, 45 receptions, 2 touchdowns, monster game. But it's inconsistent, and I think that's the biggest. I'm looking at this list of names, and all of them have had really stellar games. None
Yeah.
of them are. Josh Jacobs is probably the most consistent, and he's been. I think we mentioned before, either this week or last. He's been a guy he had a really big first week. He had a really good game last week, but he's kind of
Yeah.
been hit and miss. So your core is nice, but it's not consistent. Would be my
Well,
comment.
my question for him would be Henderson. I don't really care for just that whole.
That three-way we talked earlier
Yeah,
in the
I just
show
don't. I don't
about
like
that
that.
three-way running back by committee share.
Yeah.
Henderson's been
Hi,
the best of the three, but
but
again, like you said, you can't
yeah.
rely on it consistently.
Hines is another one who's in a bit of a timeshare with
Is
two
Jonathan
other
Taylor
running backs.
still there?
He's still there, but he ain't doing
I
much.
want to say because like he looks irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And who's
Hines
the
is
other guy? I can't. His name escapes me right now. That plays the third running back, who's really been the second. It'll
yeah.
come to me at some point.
It's a third running back
Yeah.
out there. I mean, but for me, I would try to find a replacement for Henderson. I mean, the other,
See, I'm gonna say I'd find a replacement for Hines. I think.
I just don't like that three-headed monster in
Yeah,
LA.
I agree.
It's
It's
it's nothing consistent about it. Honestly, you don't know who's gonna get what at what point and who's gonna do what, and it's frustrating because
yeah,
when you put a person in your lineup, you got to be able to say, "Oh, I know he's gonna do maybe this week."
right.
You don't even know what you're getting from Henderson. At least from Hines, you know he's gonna catch out the backfield.
Do you
At
though?
least from, I mean,
He's
yeah, I
had
mean,
several weeks where he completely disappeared this year.
well,
That
recently the
he's
last
been
couple of
the
weeks,
last couple he's been good.
yeah.
But of
Josh
those,
Jacobs definitely.
Josh
Harris,
Jacobs is the definite stud of that list.
yeah.
Yeah,
So and Harris
Harris
was
is
his
the
team.
future. Another thing to learn about me is I have a very strict rule about running backs coached by Bill Belichick. I don't want to do it because you just never know. You can do one thing and then you're just on the banned list with him. Like one fumble, you're done for the season. But I think Damon Harris is showing that he can be that guy. So I love Josh Jacobs. That's the best thing you got with your running back core. I think I like Harris second
Yeah, me
on
too.
that
I
list.
do.
And
I
then
mean,
between
I
Henderson
definitely
and
do.
Hines, I can't rely on either one of them consistently. I
Yeah, if you
think I
have
like
better
Henderson a
options out
little
there,
bit more.
definitely.
You apparently like Hines a little bit more. So I would say it's probably an average group because you just don't have anyone. He asked, "Should you feel comfortable starting Henderson?" I wouldn't feel comfortable, but
Oh,
if I have to rely on a Rams running back, Henderson's the guy I feel the most comfortable with. But yeah, I don't. The only people in that lineup I really feel comfortable with is Josh Jacobs, and I'm growing to feel like I can rely on Damian Harris. But it's that
Damian Harris.
Belichick thing that scares me with him.
I
But
think I think he sticks. He's an Alabama guy,
yeah,
and you know those Alabama running backs tend to do well
yeah,
in the
they do
league.
all right.
So I mean, I think he sticks, and I think Belichick gave him 22 carries last week. That's
Yeah, that's
a lot.
big. That's yeah,
That's big for him for a Belichick to give a running back that many
yeah.
carries. And I don't know if it was depending on the weather or what, but
The only thing about Harris is I'm worried about Rex Burkhead had taken those touchdowns, but that's 1 week. So
that's one week.
yeah.
I mean, who knows? I don't know.
But if I have those four, and I'm starting, if I have to start two running backs in my league, I'm definitely starting Harris and Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
I use Henderson in the flex spot if I need to, but if I have a wide receiver I like more, I probably start that wide receiver in the
Yeah.
flex spot instead of Henderson. Just because
Definitely.
between Malcolm Brown and Henderson, you never know which one of those two is going to have the big game for the Rams.
and you never know when they're gonna throw Cam Akers in there. So
They never throw Cam Akers.
I'm just saying, like,
You
you
would
just
think they
never know.
would though, but that would be the way it goes. They'd start
Yeah,
using them like the last 3 weeks when you're trying to make the playoffs.
exactly. So
Yeah,
anything can happen with that coach.
you never
I
know.
mean, he get desperate. He might want to run the Cam Akers. So who knows?
Who
I don't know.
knows?
I guess so.
Thanks for all the good questions. Much appreciated. T-
Appreciate you.
Tony never got back with us, so I take it that means he doesn't like Logan Thomas. That's what I'm going to say that means.
That's fine with me.
We've already proven he's a terrible Washington football team fan. So
Yeah, he's not faithful at all. Lord have
no
mercy.
no loyalty.
No loyalty. I do want to shout out the NFL,
Okay.
especially the for Monday Night Football. This coming
Oh,
up, Monday Night Football is going to be the first all black officiating crew
yeah.
ever in the NFL. Well, ever in the Monday Night Football NFL.
Yeah.
I think that's big.
It's
Big
a good story.
accomplishment. So that's something that you can kind of be proud of. So, hey, some good stuff there, man. I think they trying, man. They trying to do
Yeah.
something there, man. So I like it though. So
And it should be an interesting game since we've been talking so much about Henderson. It's going to be the Rams playing that game. Rams and the Buccaneers. So
that's gonna be a good one.
it should be a pretty good game.
So see if Aaron Donald can get to
To
Tom
Tom
Brady.
Brady.
Yeah.
I did not mention where we are with our picks because we everyone make sure you tune in for our Saturday show, the 40-second play clock. We're picking every game. I will add that I'm winning our competition, but the point is we'll see who we pick on that. I think that's going to be a tough one to pick between those two teams.
I'm leaning towards Tampa Bay
I'm
on
not.
this.
I'm not telling you until Saturday.
That's fine.
Well, I'm
You
telling
got
you
to.
tomorrow
Yeah.
when
He gonna tell
when
me
we
tomorrow.
record.
Y'all.
I'll tell
Don't worry
you
about
tomorrow.
it.
The rest of the
So,
audience will find out who I'm picking on Saturday.
yeah.
Another two comments before we go. Fabian asked, "Is Lockett going to play?" I think we got to wait for at least our Thursday injury report before we know. I hope he's playing. The question mark has me scared because Tyler Lockett is another player I went heavy on in a lot of leagues. I have my fingers crossed. I have my fingers crossed that he plays. But we only. Oh, I said we have to wait for the Thursday report, literally, because that's when they play tomorrow. We'll see. For some, Tony says he did respond. I didn't see his response at all, so I think he's lying to me. We had another one. They're trying, but look how long it's taken. Oh, okay. I think that comment from Melinda was a reference to the story you mentioned. How long it's taken before we get that first all black officiating crew. So, yeah. That what did I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not gonna try to say the quote. But basically, what Martin Luther King said, the arc of justice is it's slow and it takes a while, but it's coming.
It's coming though.
It's coming.
So I mean, it's coming. They making strides. So we definitely coming. So, but I think that's big news. I think that's big just for in general for the history of the sport because you have never seen that. So. I mean, you've seen women come in and actually officiate a game, but you've never seen it like that. You know what I mean? So I think that's big, though, definitely. So.
One more small story before we sign off. And I know how you feel about it, but we have the Pro Bowl coming up. And no.
Terrible.
What do you mean terrible? For all you gamers out there, the Pro Bowl, if you don't know, is going to be on Madden 21. So that's a thing. In fact, EA Sports is putting out a thing where they're going to actually put in upgrades, basically, so the fans will be able to play the Pro Bowl themselves if they want to. So it's terrible. But hey, that's what happens in the COVID year, right? So they can't. They did say a few weeks ago when they announced it, they said they're going to do the Pro Bowl differently, and we were like, what does that mean? Because it's definitely canceled, right? So that's the differently that you get.
Look, man, they trying to capitalize off these new games that just came out, man. They ain't
Right.
slick, man.
They're selling video
Hey,
games for Christmas. you got
come on,
you got to
man.
get this Madden 21. So
You ain't lying. They trying to capitalize off these new games that's coming out, man. They ain't about to slick. Hey,
right.
I ain't mad at them because I'm getting one myself. So,
You get
hey, so I ain't mad at them. So definitely.
shoot. I hear that. So if you're into gaming, go ahead and vote. They opened up voting today, so you can you can vote for whoever's gonna be.
I guess.
I
Vote
don't
Fred
care.
Warner.
You said Fred Warner.
Fred Warner.
Fred
Vote
Warner.
Fred Warner. Hey, I'm plugging him. Vote for him.
All right, let's get on out of here. I do see Fabian asked about Galladay, and that's another one of those. I think Galladay might, but he was limited in practice. I read
I hope
earlier
he
today,
plays.
so
Oh, I need him to play. Lord have mercy.
I don't care because I traded Galladay away, because
Still got
I
him.
couldn't deal with the injuries, so I traded him.
Hey,
Yeah,
don't talk bad
yeah,
about him. I need him this week. So,
yeah.
all right. But thank y'all for joining us.
Yes, thanks for all the questions. Thanks for being a part of the show. We're
Definitely.
back.
Hey.
Again, rnjfantasyfootballtalk.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube.
Right.
Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. And stay tuned for that Saturday 40-second play clock. And Fabian, hopefully we'll have some injury updates so we can let you know some yeses or nos on some of these players and who you need in your lineup.
Definitely. And you know how we do. Like I say, we ain't going nowhere. We here, and we here to stay.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Peace out.